Let's talk about the schools first. Otis, the state's largest school district is having a little trouble, it seems, getting this school year off to a smooth start. Absolutely it is. I mean, we had a dozen schools that didn't have air conditioning and only found out about that at the last minute. And of course, all summer long, we've been plagued with controversy over cutting the staff, cutting salaries, moving people out of the central office, and teacher shortages and all of that was going on. And then again, as you mentioned, we had the dispute with the security officers earlier this week. Thankfully, it was resolved, and I'm not aware of any major problems at the football jamborees, not that I'm aware of. But you also touched on the issue about the overtime. And that one, I think the school board did the right thing by pushing back against that. Dr. Marie Fagans is hired to be a leader here, and she should not be a micromanager down to that level. Yes, I understand trying to rein in some overtime spending if she thinks it's too high. But she doesn't need to be doing the micromanaging of that, and the school board let her know that, and I think she has backtracked. She was wanting to personally approve any overtime request, to which Althea Green, one of the board members, responded, I think what you heard the board say is that this district is too large for anyone to micromanage it. When it comes to overtime, sometimes a supervisor will know what an employee needs to stay and do. It seems reasonable to me, Chris, that this was a time to maybe push back.
Yeah, I think there are two sides, right? I think the initial allegation from the superintendent was that about $1 million in overtime had been improperly paid. I'm not suggesting illegality, but maybe just inconsistent with district policy. I'm going to be honest. I like her shaking things up, and maybe this was a battle that was better not to have been fought, but I like what she's done. I like how she's going in there and she's demanding accountability. I like how she moved a lot of people from headquarters back into the classroom. I like how she seems to be promoting transparency. I think that's healthy. Maybe this one wasn't the right opportunity to do so, but $1 million is a big number. I don't know.
Well, it's lonely at the top, isn't it? And that's the bottom line. You were hired to do a job, and you may not be the most popular person in the room as a result.
Well, absolutely. And I think both Otis and Chris are right. I think two things can be true. I think that there could be some abuse of overtime, and I think that perhaps the superintendent probably should have let the managers, the ones who are responsible for that HR type work, she should have let them do that. So those two things can be true.
So let's look at the security resource officers controversy specifically. There are 125 in the district right now. I guess they have 7 vacancies. They've changed the pay structure so that now an SRO will get $52,500 in the first year. After 4 years, their salaries bumped up to $62,600, and the sergeants will top out at almost $80,000 a year. And a lot of the times we hear on this, and we're going to talk about it with Matt too, Otis, is that the blame is that, well, the COVID money's run out. The COVID money's run out. And I have trouble understanding that because everyone knew the COVID money was going to run out. This was not a big secret.
Right. And of course, the Memphis-Shelby County School Board, school district, they're operating under over $1 billion budget, aren't they? Aren't they not? Yeah, $1.2 billion. And those are pretty generous salaries there. So I think that the resource officers should be happy about that, but they are needed. We've had problems in the past with unruly crowds at the football games and even in the schools themselves during school hours. So they should be paid for what they do. But I don't disagree with everything you said, Chris. I'm not totally sure that there's been all that much transparency, though, on a lot of different things. Remember, she was the one that came out with a directive that said that media inquiries had to be emailed and then looked at by top-level people, and we might get back to you in a couple of days.
Now, was that because of you?
It could have been. Probably.
And she had a press conference and didn't invite the press.
Right. I just think
it's the best kind.
Well, the jury is still out on whether there was really clear transparency here. I'm hearing that it's not as much as you might think.
Well, the air conditioner issue, and I know we visited this last week, but that was the ultimate. You know, lots of questions about why are so many schools unable to hold classes because it's so darn hot and the schools aren't cooling down. and we're going to have a news conference to talk about it, except we're not going to invite the news media to it, just some student press folks.
Right.
And we're going to post it on Facebook, and that's your comment.
Right. And that's transparency? I don't think so.
Go ahead.
I'll jump in.
I dare you to disagree.
The district is facing tremendous problems, right? It's a shrinking student population. It has tons of buildings with millions and millions in deferred maintenance.
500 million is the estimate.
The new schools that they were going to build are coming in way over budget. And most importantly, the product, the service that they're delivering, if you look at reading and math, just on the recent TCAP, it's nowhere near where you want it to be. Now, there were some improvements. Truancy rates are real. This is a really tough job. So I think my overall point is we've seen where the status quo gets us. And I'm not maligning anybody in particular. Please hear me out. But when you bring in a new leader that is hard charging, that's proactive, that's innovative, let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. I think I think it's productive. I think it's good because where we're at right now is untenable. We cannot be where we're at in 5 years. The numbers are catastrophically low. Now, you can speak with way more authority about this than I can, but that's just sort of my perspective outside looking in.
Well, regular viewers know that you are a former school board member, so you do have some authority to talk about this. And every once in a while, we like to turn this show over to you for some heartfelt commentary with the Right Rev. And we're going to let you have some time here to get something off your chest. How about that?
Thank you.
All right.
Keeping it real with the Right Rev is what we call it. Nothing more or less than my candid commentary on current events. Remember that Oprah Winfrey show where audience members open gift boxes containing car keys while Oprah shouts, "You get a car, you get a car, everybody gets a car." Well, with regard to the disturbing developments at Memphis-Shelby County Schools, you get the blame, I get the blame, everybody gets the blame. And the blame began in 2011 when voters surrendered our school system's charter. This commentary follows the news that Whitehaven High School, a school with a 92% graduation rate, had not received $2.3 million they were promised for a new STEM lab. Unfulfilled promises are not new for MSCS. As a commissioner, I introduced a resolution to repurpose Humes High, where Elvis Presley went to school, as Memphis Academy of Music, Arts, and Sciences. The resolution passed unanimously, and millions of dollars were allocated for the project. It never happened. Humes is now closed. Would have been a much better look for Elvis fans this week had the school board kept its promise. The school board, not Superintendent Fagans, is 100% responsible for the sad state of affairs we find ourselves in, from sweltering school buildings with roach infestation and no air conditioning, to the fact that as of July 1st, all fire and life safety contracts have expired. Like any school system, ours is not a monolith. People maintain systems. I pray that the people who maintain ours will do some soul searching and save our children. By the way, all this is a great argument for school choice vouchers. This has been Keeping It Real with the Right Rev. Richard?
Very good. Had to get the school voucher thing in there, huh?
Yeah, you had to come at me.
I liked it.
That's the only thing I really disagree with you.
But you make a lot of good points, and it doesn't really, it falls on all of us. It falls on all of us, but the school board, how optimistic are you about the new school board that'll be taking over here in a couple of weeks? We'll be able to maybe mount some kind of effort to turn things around.
My optimism stems from the fact that most of them are new and don't know what they are doing in the sense of traditional way things have been done at Memphis-Shelby County Schools. I would hope that because of their newness to the scene, they will use their common sense and concern for the kids and stop listening to the naysayers, stop listening to the people who are telling them how to do their job, and do what's in their heart to save these kids. Because Chris is right. We are at a breaking point, man, in Memphis and Shelby County.
Well, we have now generations of people where the school system has failed them.
There is no doubt.
We're paying the price for that as a community.
There is no doubt.
I would just hope that we have a lot of new school board members, like you say, and they don't really know the lay of the land yet. What we suffer from there might be some lack of institutional knowledge. and that can be a problem sometimes. I think it's a problem over in the administration because so many new people have come in with Superintendent Fagans, and a lot of quality people were, I think, pushed out, like Odell
And some of
Horton
the
Jr.
knowledgeable people who are still there are afraid to raise issues for fear that they might lose their job.
That's my point.
Maybe there is or can be some whistleblower protections that will cause people to come forward and speak the truth.
I hope that's the case. I'm not looking for real problems here. I'm not predicting major problems. But I do think that we need a little bit more openness here, and we do need to rely on the institutional knowledge that has been at the school system to help Marie Fagans be a successful superintendent.